first thoughts when I saw this was basically my fond memories of ABCP. You know, Nitesh, I think you will remember, were basically from a debate between Dr. T.P. Sahu and Dr. Kumar Prabhash. One of them actually said ABCP in non-small cell lung cancer, four drugs in non-small cell lung cancer stage 4, leukemia treat kar rahe ho kya? I will not name the guy who said this, but I think we all of us know who actually said that. My subsequent reaction was, yaar, ABCP 4 drug kuch to hoga. And then I got this very nice talk which says, you know, क्यों डरे जिंदगी में क्या होगा, कुछ ना कुछ होगा तो तजुर्बा ही होगा. I think age has basically, you know, got me into a very philosophical mode right now, which has said this. Now, my first thing was, let me start with saying with atezolizumab in combination with bevacizumab and chemotherapy, who, why, and when. And I will start with why this collaborative. You know, why? I mean, why this combination of ABCP is accepted over here? All of you would know. So let's just remember there was a trial which had basically compared pemetrexed cisplatin versus paclitaxel, and the PFS and OS was the same. So this was a trial which was presented in 2015. PFS and OS of pemetrexed cisplatin was the standard regimen, paclitaxel was the standard regimen, and this was the trial which was compared. So what I will just like to add is, so PEM-CIS plus pembrolizumab became the KN-189 regimen. Paclitaxel plus atezolizumab became the IM power regimen. So there is where the answer to why this collaborative D is, in US, you know, paclitaxel is the sign of care. You add atezo, it becomes the IM power regimens, and if you give the PEM-CIS plus pembro, it becomes the KN-198. So that was the answer to why this collaborative D. The rationale for atezolizumab and bevacizumab plus chemotherapy is this. It's a very scary slide. But basically what it does is it acts as a synergistic combination. Because of bevacizumab, it allows them to recognize the T cells. Bevacizumab helps to recruit the T cells. Bevacizumab helps to reprogram the T cells. Atezolizumab's ability to restore anti-cancer immunity is increased. It restores. I don't know. I mean, I think bevacizumab is like Nitesh Rohtagi, you know, who can do everything and everything. Bad joke to say right now in terms of COVID era, but bevacizumab is one which is supposed to add to atezolizumab. And this basically shows the combination that maybe the postulation was that atezo plus bev will have a synergistic combination, which will say that 1 plus 1 is basically more than 2. And that is what we are looking at. So let's look at the IM power study design. Arm C is the control where you have paclitaxel. Arm A is like a Keynote 189 design, which had 4 to 6 cycles. Arm B is the ABCP regimen, which is the standard, which is the synergistic regimen. So this is what we are basically looking at over here, and this is what the WHO basically comes and says over here. So this is what the regimen was, and ITT over here. Basically, the objective was the IT assessed PFS in the wild type, and you know. The key secondary objective were the PFS and OS in the wild type population and stuff like that. Now, very importantly, the way these trials are different is because you had certain bit of 13% people who were EGFR and ALK mutant in both the populations, and that was very, very, very important because none of the regimens had taken this. Now, this was the PFS analysis. Now, here I'll be presenting only between arm B and arm C, that is ABCP versus BCP. Forget about the ACP arm because ACP, like in CBI serial ACP Pradyuman Sinha, is useless. I mean, I should not be saying this in a Roche symposium, but for the purpose of this talk, concentrate on the arm B versus arm C. Arm C is the standard. Arm B is the comparator. Arm A is just to make the arm B look good. That's it. So this was the initial results in the ITT WT population, where we can see a PFS of 8.3 versus 6.8. But look at the landmark PFS at 87 at 18 months. You had 27% people who had a PFS free versus only 8%. So this had a 3 times more increase in the PFS. Again, look at the OS. Your OS was better, 19.2 versus 14.7 with an HR of 0.78. Typically in this population, we get an HR of around 0.7 or 0.6, depending on the other regimens that we use. But this was basically a positive trial. So again, If you see 24 months PF OS advantage, 43 versus 34, the drug definitely, the drug combination definitely acts very, very well. Now, look at the forest plot curve over here. All subgroups, and as we all know, if your PDL1 is higher, this will have more advantage. The lower the PDL1, that is the tumor cells and the immune cells, it grows, the advantage to a chemo plus immuno combination decreases. Look at the liver mets, look at the EGFR wild type. I will talk to you about that in detail later on. But the point is, all the subgroups, OS was better in the ABCP arm as compared to the BCP arm. This is just a Kaplan-Meier curve to show HR of 0.70, 0.80, 0.82 in high PDL1, PDL1 low. And again, mind it, this is not your typical 22C3. It is both the tumor cells and the immune cells which were seen. And the PDL1 scoring was the SP142, which was used over here. So very importantly, when you use all the chemo regimens, you should, immunotherapy regimens, you should know what platform was it used so that you can ask your pathologist about what exactly platforms of IHC they are using. So this was the duration of response, and if you look at this, 70% response rate in a PDL1 high, that is TC3 or IC3, was seen in the Atezo plus Bev plus chemotherapy arm. Now that is something which is very, very good. And again, as the PDL1 grows to slightly less, it decreases from 69 to 58 to 51. But the point is that this drug definitely acts. In the intention to treat population, the response rate was around 56%. And again, the safety analysis data. So if it's a 4 drug, and as one of them rightly said, the drug was slightly toxic, which we can see the serious AEs were observed in 34% patient. But what I would want you to see over here is the safety profiles of ABCP, ACP were similar to A, B, and CP individually. There was no new safety signals were observed with the combination. So whatever side effect you have with Atezo or Bev or Paclitaxel, similar was there. There was no increased risk in complication which was observed with this arm basically. So again, that is what. So this is again to say, this I said was the OS in the ITT wild arm, that is the ACP versus the BCP. I told you ACP arm, not very happy. Your confidence interval had crossed unity 1.08, p-value was not significant. But again, to show that OS in the ITT arm, there was a 5-month difference, 19.8 versus 14.9 with an HR of 0.76. So this is in a ITT wild type population. So this was the summary of the trial, which was presented in ASCO 2018. And they said, I mean, Atezo, Bev, Paclitaxel should be a combination in all the patients of first-line immunotherapy wild type. So this was there, but I know, the moment I put ABCP, there will be a lot of things about single agent Atezo, single agent Pembro, Pembro plus chemo. That is not what we are interested in right now. What we are interested right now is, and there's still more to come, as we all know that there is still more. Otherwise, Roche would not waste a 30-minute symposium on a ABCP regimen over here. So let's take it to the next level. Now let's dissect the data. What we mean right now is that PDL1, everybody with a PDL1 more than 50%, whether the patient has got a single bony met, or the patient has got multiple bony mets, or the patient has got multiple liver mets, or the patient has got a multiple lung mets, is the same. Unfortunately, this is not the same thing. What we need to find out is a stage 4 disease is also different, and it needs to be treated differently in all the combination. So what are the other factors according to IM Power group? The other two very specific group are liver metastasis and the EGFR mutant TKIs. Let's look at the liver metastasis here. Now, what we all know is that the patients with liver mets, they don't do very, very well. Now, I mean, for everybody who has almost fallen asleep, just wake up for the next 10 minutes. Nitesh also can wake up for the next 10 minutes, and maybe he can then probably go back to sleep after that. So what we know is patients who have liver mets, the PD1, PDL1 inhibitors don't do very well. It's a bad disease. And this was, I don't say, this was said in an article in Cancer Immunology Research by May 2017, that people with no liver mets do far better than people with liver mets. Now, this is also a nivolumab subgroup trials, the Checkmate 1757. If you look at the graph on your left, you can find out in the overall study population, it was 11.1 versus 8.1. But if you look at patients with liver mets, the median OS was 6.8 versus 5.9. So nivolumab better, but in patients with liver mets, we need probably something more than only a single agent immunotherapy. The similar thing goes for Keynote 189. If you look at patients with liver mets, you are 12.6 versus 6.6. Yes, it is better, but in patients who do not have liver mets, that's a very favorable biology of disease. You have a median OS of 23.7 versus 13.2 months. So definitely liver mets should be a stratification factor in deciding what immunotherapy regimen to be given, whether we give a single agent, whether we give a single agent with chemotherapy, whether we give a 4-drug therapy, liver mets should definitely be allowed. Now, just look at this trial. If the patient had liver mets, you have 13.3 versus 9.4 months. So please remember the comparator arm also did much well. Remember the Keynote 189, it was 12.3 versus 6. But in patients of liver mets, the BCP arm probably is also a stronger arm, but ABCP scores much more higher with the HR level of 0.52, which is very, very significant. Now look at patients who do not have liver mets. I mean, on one first cursory look, it actually looks like, with the HR of 0.82, that maybe ABCP doesn't work. But no, just look at the median survival in BCP. So what we need to remember is that the Paclitaxel carbo-bev also is a very strong chemo regimen. And if you have liver mets, ABCP is better. If you do not have liver mets, ABCP is still better, although the magnitude of benefit is slightly lesser. Now, look at the ACP arm, it doesn't make a difference. So definitely, it is not about the atezolizumab. It is probably about the combination of atezolizumab plus bevacizumab, which is causing the drug to act better in patients with liver metastasis. So again, patients with liver metastasis have a poor prognosis. Patients with liver metastasis, both the nivolumab and the pembrolizumab trials have not done that better. But definitely in patients with IM power 150, ABCP regimen, the quadruplet regimen, the regimen which certain very dear friend of mine said leukemia treat kar rahe ho, probably we need to have a more aggressive regimen for treating patients with liver mets. This is again a very nice forest plot which I showed you earlier. Somebody with liver mets and the patient is a EGFR wild type, your HR ratio is 0.54, which is definitely very, very nice. So we spoke about the ITD population. We spoke about the liver mets population. Now let's look at something where typically immunotherapy has not been shown to have a role. That is patients with oncogene-driven addicted lung cancer who have failed one line of EGFR TKIs. Now again, this data was presented at ELCC 2019 by Martin Rick, and again at ASCO 2020 by Martin Rick. So again, I'll take you back to the earlier graph. We spoke about IM power 150. 87% of the patients had a wild type of EGFR, but 13% of patients had EGFR ALK mutated, and we are going to see the data of those people right now. So the PFS data, if you look at patients now, the graph on the left is going to be arm A, that is ACP versus BCP. And the graphs on the right is going to be graph that is arm B versus arm C. So once you have a look at, and this is your right and my right on the screen. So PFS and EGFR mutant people, if you have an arm A, arm C, there is no difference. If you look at this 6.9 versus 6.9 months. So probably if you give only atezo plus Paclitaxel carbo, it does not make a difference. But if you give ABCP regimen, you have a difference of 10.2 versus 6.9 months, and 10.2 months was the OS, was the PFS which was achieved in the AURA3 trial with osimertinib. Osimertinib became the standard of care after that AURA3 trial, and definitely ABCP should be considered in patients who do not have a T790M mutation and are candidates for further chemotherapy, because the median PFS was 10.2 versus 6.9. Now let's look at the PFS data. Again, is arm A versus arm C. Absolutely unity. Doesn't make a difference. It doesn't change here or there. It is of no use. But if you look at people with arm B and arm C, in all the patients of EGFR mutation, you have a HR of 0.61. in patients with a sensitizing EGFR mutation and who have received prior TKI therapy, your ABCP benefit actually, and the HR ratio is 0.41 and 0.42. Now 0.3 is the HR if you see in the ADAURA trial, and the whole world is going gaga over here. We definitely need to have this ABCP at the back of our mind once we are taking care of a patient who has post his TKI therapy. Now let's look at the overall survival analysis. Again, arm A versus arm C, no difference whatsoever. But if you look at OS in patients with EGFR mutant after they have failed one line of therapy and they are T790 negative, this was the 2019 presentation in which the median was not achieved versus 18.7 months. Now, this is the graph. I will show you. This is the forest plot, which again says that patient in sensitizing EGFR mutation, you have 0.31 of HR, and in patients who have received a prior TKI therapy, the HR is 0.39. And this was the data which was presented at AACR 2020. Just look at the OS. The median OS over here was 29.4 months. Add a certain 10 months, 14 months, 18 months of the earlier TKI, depending on if you use gefitinib or you use dacomatinib or you use osimertinib, and your survival is going to be a mind-boggling somewhere in the range of 40s and 50s. And this was the data which was presented just 3 months back. Again, arm A did not do very well. So HR of 0.60, updated analysis, the minimum follow-up was 32.4 months. And this is again in patients who do not have a T790M. So if you do not have a T790M, at this thing, you give first line TKIs probably 10 months, you give second generation 14 months, and then you add a median 29.4. Survival is going to be fantastic. This was the safety profile. Again, what they said was no new safety signals basically were observed. Median number of cycles which were received was 14 and 12. The grade 5 side effects were none. Grade 3, 4 side effects were there. But the number of populations, as we know, is very, very small over here. But definitely ABCP is a option which is worth considering in people, in EGFR mutant people who have progressed on EGFR TKIs. So I will like to conclude by saying, just don't throw the regimen out of the box just because it's a 4-drug regimen and just because we are not treating chemotherapy. I would like to say there's a time and place for everything, and definitely ABCP also has a place in a lung cancer treatment, and a very special place. This is Nitesh, and the other one I can't recognize over here. This is atezolizumab right now. This is bevacizumab actually, and in patients who have got liver metastasis, and in patients of EGFR mutant who have progressed on first line TKI, who do not have a T790M, ABCP regimen definitely has a place to go, and hopefully we'll have further follow-up and trials to come. With this, thank you.